Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Um, I am Audrey, and I'll be conducting the training session today. I did want to give just another minute to be sure if Patricia Pryor was going to come on. Um, so let's just give her another minute, and then if not, we'll get started soon.
I'm here, Audrey. Sorry, I didn't get a pop-up reminder on my Outlook.
Oh yeah, no problem. I didn't know if you had a meeting or something that ran late, but I didn't want to start without you.
I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay, perfect. So, like I said, my name is Audrey and I work with Net Digital Solutions, and we have created AUTOS, which is going to be the platform for you all to go in and update your mileage and things like that. Some people might be familiar with it and some people may not. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and then we can go through the presentation together. Okay. So one of the first things I like to do is just describe what AUTOS is. It's our automobile use tracking online system, and it's a requirement that each government agency have a fleet management system. So you all should have a copy of this user guide. If you don't, definitely let me know. I'll be sending it out as well as the recording after this meeting. So when you're kind of thinking about why do I need to use autos and GSA drive-through for your GSA leased vehicles and things, we really want to talk about the impacts that have on our annual FAST submissions and then other outside submissions that we have to present. So logging in frequently, you want to log in at least once a month, allows your vehicle contacts and fleet managers to stay on top of that data. There are so many aspects of the fleet data that it can be overwhelming. And at Autos, we hope to categorize every element so that you can understand each specific piece. And then you'll have simple steps to confirm that data or correct any inconsistencies. So that's kind of our goal here throughout the month, is to make those submissions as accurate as possible. And so the fast submission specifically is in December. So it's like kind of all year we're working up to this, our goal. And then, so what if you don't understand a specific section in autos? Sometimes there's new sections that we've just developed. You might have a question on that. Or if you're brand new to fleet, you might have a question that we can answer for you. Please don't hesitate to contact either Patricia Pryor or myself at support@netdigitalsolutions.com. If you don't have your mic muted, if you could do that for me. And if you are experiencing any technical difficulties, or if you notice that there's any bugs in the system, that can happen sometimes. So please just send us over, like I said, at support@netdigitalsolutions.com, and we will put that in our queue and get to that as soon as we can. Okay. So the first thing that we want to talk about is getting access to autos. So with JCC, it's a little bit different than the rest of the other agencies, but you will be able to have your JCC center. It'll be connected to that, and then you'll see all of the vehicles that are at your center. And I know there is, some turnover or changing of the roles in that. So if you happen to maybe see another center's vehicles or anything like that, that sometimes happens, please let me know, and then we'll get that situated on our end. Okay, so logging in, you will use your government email address and then the password that either I provide to you, or you can click on I forgot my password and it will send you a link. It'll send a link. Sometimes it goes to like your clutter or your spam, something like that. So if you don't get it or you don't see it, definitely just let us know and we can get that for you. So logging in, as you can see, you can have like a show password or you can have a keep me logged in. So it's just going to load all that data in the background. And then you'll also see some tooltips. This is a new feature as well. So if you click on something that maybe we feel like you need some more information about, these tooltips will come up for you. And then you can either turn them off here, or you can just exit out of one so that you've read that one, but the other ones will still come up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sign in as a fleet manager so that you all can see exactly what you will see when you log in, but it will be tailored for you. And then if I don't already have your JCC center or your email address, please definitely send that to me either directly at support, or you can put it in the chat, and that way I can create your account for you. If it wasn't already on my spreadsheet, then you might not be an active user in the system. So let's see. I also have included in the user guide an FAQ from our past sessions, so that could be of use to you as well. We want to make sure that those questions are getting added each time if we feel like there's something that could be really useful. So definitely feel free to ask any questions that you might have during the session. So the first thing that we're going to talk about within autos is the My Vehicle section. It is designated a location for you to view and edit and manage all your vehicles at a glance. So it should show you, if you have 15 vehicles, it's going to show you all 15 of them so that you can go ahead and make some decisions about them. You can see all of the main information at a glance, like the VIN, the agency, the vehicle info, the ownership type, the status, and then you'll even get more information once you click on these little icons to the right. Okay, let's see if that's loaded now. Perfect. I think my internet's just going really slow today. Alrighty, so as you can see, all of that information, we've also now included the autos garage address, as well as the last data call address. So there are some data calls that are being done now, but just so you know, that is what we're comparing those addresses. So when you go here, there's a couple of things that you might not necessarily need to work with as much as your fleet manager would. So the ones I'm going to go over today are the edit the vehicle record. So if you perchance needed to change the Job Corps center, or maybe you had information on the state tag, the expiration date, you wanted to update that, you would just come here and do that. You could also update the address if that's necessary. And then the next one would be this little person icon, which is going to show you all of the vehicle contacts that are assigned to this vehicle. Now, so in GSA, you have one primary contact, and as you can see, that's displayed here as Kendall. But in autos, we can have multiple contacts, and that way you can share the workload with whoever you'd like. Say you have another person in your office and they're going to be your backup when you go on vacation or on leave. So that is why we have that. You may also want to use this little trash icon when a person leaves or that person is no longer going to be taking care of that vehicle anymore. Okay. Oh, and in order to add another contact, you would just click here, add vehicle contact, and you can copy and paste up to 20 email addresses in this box. Okay, so the other ones here are an accident report. You can add some notes to that. any of the files, you'll be able to see any of the files that you've uploaded, you could see. This is just a quicker link to the fuel, and then this is going to be for vehicle research, and this one's for telematics. So you may or may not need to use that depending on your level of comfortability with the system. Okay. And then a question I get sometimes is if you don't see a vehicle and you know it's yours, and it's just not showing up on this list, definitely shoot me or your fleet manager an email, and we can add that to your account. We'll add you as a user. Alrighty. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is, we call this our magic bar, but it's really your data elements your data elements of your dashboard that shows you the health of your system. And so that is what this overall is going to show. It's a combination of everything that you see here, and it's showing that 76% is completed. And so what that means is that we're going to go through each one of these dashboard items to try to get them to 100%. Okay, and so this data is actually coming from GSA. We work closely with GSA, but it's not a like a continuous cycle. They're not integrated. It's that we pull the information from GSA and organize it, because sometimes we found that in GSA it's a little bit harder to um, get reports out of that system, or um, understand exactly what you need to do. So that's what Autos is here to let you know. These are the things that need to be completed. So for odometer, now this is a one that I get a lot of questions about, so please feel free to put those questions in the chat or anything like that. Um, we have recently made updates to this page, and what you're noticing is that it's going to be 1 month behind. There's no April yet. There's just March, February. It goes through the fiscal year. And you're going to see the tag, the VIN, all that information here. You can access the fuel data too by clicking on that. This little flag means that there is something that you need to take care of within this row here. And so this is all the pertinent information. What we're really looking for is the ending odometer for each month. It doesn't necessarily need to be the last odometer for the specific fuel transaction, but it needs to be what you have written down for that last I'm sorry, the ending odometer. So for this one, you might see, okay, this one looks the same. It doesn't look like they've driven anything. If that is correct, then we're going to go ahead and check that box. And it's going to go ahead and save that. Now, say that was completely wrong and they actually went, like another 100 miles. You would just click into this box and fill out whatever the actual odometer reading is. And you'll see here that's going to calculate the miles that was driven in that particular month. And so if you look at the next one, one of the flags is saying miles over 1,000 in a single month. Now, that doesn't mean that the vehicle did not drive 1,000 miles, because, even when your own car, you typically go the same amount each day, but then you might go on a trip. So it's possible that this vehicle went, but we just flag that because it's a little bit out of the ordinary. So that's kind of what our system is designed to do as well, is just to alert you to things that might be an error, but it's your job to kind of confirm that they're correct. Because sometimes there are, odometer readings from GSA that are way out of whack. I don't see any that are necessarily right here, but sometimes there can be an instance where it's negative miles. Somebody may have forgotten to put in a digit at the end. And so it's saying negative miles. And at the end of the year, that's a huge red flag. And we need to clean that up as it's happening and not wait until the end of the year to clean that up. So does anybody have any questions about how to confirm and correct the odometer readings? Okay, I see a hand up.
Hi, it's Blanca Carpio. I'm over at Treasure Island Job Corps Center.
Hi.
I had previously noticed one time when I updated the mileage like that, where it was incorrect. It just seemed to be like maybe one too many numbers was entered, and I saved the update. When I went back through reviewing that month, it hadn't been updated. Like it didn't save the change. So I don't know if that got tracked on this in the system.
Okay, well, if you could send me that vehicle that you did it with, or like a screenshot, or maybe even like what it's supposed to be, I
Okay.
can definitely go back because the system is supposed to store all changes made, but
Okay.
maybe there was a glitch and it didn't do that. I actually spoke with somebody, I think last month, about something similar happening when they clicked out of the page.
Yeah.
It wasn't fully saving their review. So that might be happening to your account too.
Yep, that sounds exactly like what was happening. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, and so definitely Blanca, thank you. That sometimes happens, especially since this is a newer page. We're still finding those little like glitches that you may not catch until you start using it. So definitely let us know, and we'd be happy to look into that. And sometimes it's happening to a specific person, or sometimes it's system wide. So you could definitely be helping out your peers when you do that. Um, so yeah, hopefully we can get that fixed right away. So any other questions about maybe why we need to do the odometer or how that kind of works on this page? I have that updated as well in the new user guide. Let's see. So we want to avoid negative miles traveled, and then just emphasis on the ending odometer reading, because that's what the fast submission is really concerned about. So please let us know. And normally what will happen is it's a month behind. So you will likely see, for March, it's there already. But likely you'll see it around this time. So give it like 1 or 2 days before you go in, and you might see like an empty box or something, and then we go and we upload that information from GSA. So it does take a little bit of time for kind of all that data to sink in and to process, but it should be there the first week of the next month. Okay. So this is the user guide will give you a little bit more of a breakdown into everything. Okay, going back to the system, the next one is going to be the agency incurred expenses. And so again, this one is a little bit complicated because it has to do with money, as everything is. So as this loads, what you're going to pay attention to is mostly over here in the details and the category. So this is like your monthly credit card statement. What you want to look for is just any errors or any double billing, anything that might look out of the ordinary that you shouldn't be paying for, especially because sometimes GSA will charge for something that's actually supposed to be covered under the lease. Um, for instance, most wet leases have a car wash if it's once per month. So this, you might be able to contact your FSR or your fleet manager and kind of get more information about why was this actually charged. Sometimes they accidentally bill for the same thing twice, and we've caught that in the past before, and that could actually end up saving your agency some money. Another thing to look for is, say that on here it says that you charge for premium fuel or the wrong gas. There was an instance where in GSA they had the wrong fuel type listed for that vehicle, and so it was coming up, you're being charged $54 for gas when that is actually, supposed to be kind of paid for. So that stuff actually really adds up, as you would imagine. and it should be kind of addressed as soon as you kind of notice it. And so that way we can get more information and hopefully get a refund. Then we can use that money for other things. So what you'll do in autos, because this is not, like I said, integrated with GSA, this is a platform that's going to alert you of that, is say, okay, this charge, I'm going to challenge it. So what you'll do is say reviewed, the date, and then check that box. You might want to put a comment in there. And you're going to say the car wash is supposed to be covered. I was told it's covered under the wet lease. And then you can upload any documents that you have pertaining to that. Once you have challenged all the ones that you want to challenge, you can actually export this to Excel and send it to maybe your FSR, your for this instance, it would be Randy, and you would say, hey, I need you to check on these for me. And that will give you kind of a better way to, instead of just emailing and saying, oh, I have a question about these couple of vehicles. Like, this gives you the specific information that's coming over from the bill. And there are other things that you can filter on here. You can check, you can filter on the challenge, you can filter on the category. If you wanted to look specifically for the car washes, you could do that. And you could filter, well, the agency is always going to be Job Corps, but you're only going to see the ones that are for your Job Corps center. So, or you could filter on if it's over a specific amount. Does anybody have any questions on how to confirm or verify these agency incurred expenses? Okay, perfect. If you think of anything, definitely let me know. So for the addresses, I'm going to refer back to my notes because it's at 100%. When it's at 100%, you can't really see anything. But so what we're looking for in autos is the garage address, and that means that it's the physical location for that vehicle. And I know sometimes there's like different addresses that are on the billing or anything like that. What we really want for autos is that physical location so that we can map it to certain things. So what you'll do is you'll start typing in this box, you know, your street, the city, the state, and just make sure that you're paying extra close attention to that. And as you start typing, a suggested address may come up. You can either confirm that address or you can continue typing as you would. Then you'll just hit save, and then that will take that address off of your list. Okay, does anybody have any questions about addresses? Okay. So I'm not gonna go over, I guess I could briefly go over assignment type. We've actually made it so that JCC centers are all going to have the same assignment type, so you don't need to worry about this one. But these are just, this gives you a listing of the individual, the office, and the pool, what those mean. So if you do have a specific question, or you think, hey, this vehicle might fit better into a different assignment type, you can contact Trish and let her know. But we are going to be pre-populating all of the assignment types so that it's a little bit easier for the JCC center. Okay, and then we got to go to the vehicle contact. That one. So for missing vehicle contact, it's kind of like what I went over before, but each vehicle in the system requires a person to be responsible for it. So if for some reason the person like left the department or anything like that, it would leave the vehicle kind of unmanned. And that is what that element is telling you, that you need to go in and add a vehicle contact. So you just go in and do that. And likely this doesn't normally happen because there's normally multiple vehicle contacts associated with one. So it just happens sometimes, maybe if there's one that was recently added or something like that. But if in the event that you need to work through that, you would just hit that button that has the people on it, and then add the contact like you saw in the beginning. So for the next one, for the missing tag, so the DOL has decided that state tag, it's more readily visible than the VIN, and it's kind of easier to work with. So you'll just want to double
Don't use
check.
state tags. Audrey, we don't use state tags with job.
Oh,
codes.
okay. Gotcha. So perfect. We can skip
So-
that.
So just so they know what I'm talking about, your tags are only going to be either G tags for GSA leased,
Yeah.
or L tags for Department of Labor agency owned.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And that normally doesn't happen a lot. As you can see, you only have one that's missing this tag, even though it has a tag. So that's weird. Maybe it's the state tag that it's missing. So in the event that you do have a missing tag on this, you would just make sure that you double check the tag before hitting save, because it is going to, link that to that vehicle with the VIN. It can be changed if you made a mistake, but sometimes it's harder to catch those mistakes once you've, hit save, because you're not really looking at it very hard after that. So that's just something to consider.
If I or they discover error in a VIN number, can I easily change it, or somebody?
Yeah, so we could definitely change that on our end. We may just want to do a little bit of research. But I believe that you may be able to change it under the edit the vehicle. But definitely just let us know, because we might want to kind of look at the history of the vehicle and see if it's always been wrong, or what the NHTSA data says.
Yeah, if it's an agency owned vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
I always want a photograph of the VIN off of the dashboard.
Yeah. Oh, good idea.
Hey, Audrey and Trish, this is Eric.
Mhm.
If there is a change in VIN, if you have an incorrect VIN and you need to update it on a GSA lease, you'll want to update it with GSA Fleet Drive-Through as well, because if they upload something into AUTOS, it might change that VIN back to what they're showing, if I'm correct.
Yeah, probably have to go through the FSR to change a GSA lease VIN.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great point. Yeah, if it's incorrect in like both places or something like that, then it would definitely get changed back once we do, our upload. So
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so definitely just paying extra close attention to the tags or the VIN number when entering those in. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions about the tag? Okay, moving on to separated contact. Again, this is something, let me see. It went out of order. This is something that you will probably won't have to deal too much with, because it's doesn't happen very often, but we compare the separated contacts, the people who have left the department, with people that are still in the system. And so if you notice that you have one to do on the separated contact, it just means that, okay, that person has left the department, they're no longer with that vehicle, and pretty soon that vehicle is going to have a missing contact. So you're going to want to update that, especially in GSA, because GSA has that person as their primary contact. So now we need a new primary contact. So there's nothing that you need to do necessarily um in AUTOS, but it's alerting you to the fact that that person, has either left the department or they are leaving the department, and we need a new contact for that vehicle. Okay. So then we get into the overdue service. So with overdue service, it's not necessarily telling us what the exact service is that's overdue, but most of the time it's, an overdue, either an inspection or oil change or something to that effect, but it doesn't come through on our file. So you will need to kind of double check that within GSA drive-through if they have that capability. But this is letting you know that this vehicle has an overdue item. And if those overdue items are not taken care of in a timely manner, they can turn into AIEs. So this is just here to alert you to that fact that you have something that needs your attention. And we know that maintaining service on a large number of fleets is a hard thing to do. So this is kind of letting you know, this is what is needed of you. And also sometimes this was a bigger problem during the pandemic, but could also be a problem for one-off vehicles. Sometimes the GSA is estimating your mileage. So if it believes that the vehicle should have gone, 3,000 miles in the last like 3 months, it could potentially say that you're due for an oil change, even though you're not. In that case, you'll want to contact your FSR and just let them know, like, hey, this vehicle actually doesn't need an oil change or whatever they're saying it needs. So certifying this in autos is like you've seen before. You review it, the date, and you add the comment. And the one thing to note, though, is that if these items are not taken care of in GSA, or I mean, if GSA doesn't know that they're taken care of, if the vehicle hasn't been taken in for service or something like that, this will reappear in the next cycle. So then, because it is still alerting you to that fact. So some people have come to me and they're like, oh, well, they keep popping up. Well, it's just to let you know that these are things that you need to do, so they are going to keep popping up unless and until they're taken care of. So you'll do that and you'll say reviewed here, and maybe you can say something if you are keeping a historical record, this vehicle is going in for service, next week, and then that way other people on your team can see that as well. All righty. Does anybody have any questions on overdue service? Okay, moving on to open recalls. So this is very similar as well. The same type of, certifying or verifying of the information. This gives you, what the safety recall is, the notification date, all of those things. You'll also want to just clarify reviewed, the date, the comment. These things can turn into AIEs if they're not taken care of. But, I know that in previous discussions, we've talked about the fact that recalls sometimes take a long time to get taken care of. So you'll just maybe want to put in here that we are waiting on a part or something like that. And that will alert you and the other users that, you've seen this and you're on top of it. It's just taking longer than a month to get it taken care of. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for recalls? Alrighty. Next is accidents. So, sometimes there are accidents that happen and these show up on our bill. And so what we want to do as like with the AIE is just determine, is this information correct? There's been instances in the past where maybe GSA has said like the government was at fault, and you have a police report saying that it wasn't your fault, it was the other person's fault. So there could be instances like that where it's just an error in the report, and you'll want to fix that. So you're just going to want to make sure that everything that you see here is correct. And then once you certify that, you can add a comment or documentation supporting it. Does anybody have any questions on accidents? Okay. So this next one is kind of along that same thread of having, of checking the bill. So this is going to alert you to a thing that we call billed after disposal, which is stating that, this vehicle is no longer in the inventory, but it's showing up on your billing statement. Now, why would that be? There could be a couple of reasons why that Ron and the team have outlined. So I'm going to go ahead and show that before I continue discussing. Okay, here we are. So we are flagging items that are 3 or more months after the vehicle was last seen in the inventory. And that's because typically like 1 month after you might see, a charge for either gas or maybe there was something they needed to fix on the vehicle. But after that, we shouldn't see too many charges after that. But there could be reasons why you are getting a bill for the vehicle. So these are the first 3 are valid. The vehicle has been disposed and is still active in your fleet, or it hasn't been disposed. I'm sorry. So there was an instance, especially, with us trying to replace vehicles and them not getting all the vehicles in, you may have thought you were going to dispose of a vehicle, but then it was returned to you or you kept it. So in that case, you will want to make sure that in GSA, the vehicle is still marked as active. The next one is a vehicle had damages when it was turned in. So maybe it just took them a little bit longer than 3 months to notice the damages or something like that. So you're going to want to make sure that you just look at those and that they're valid. The vehicle was turned in early and the agency is still responsible for the monthly lease cost. So in that instance, you may want to weigh the pros and cons of turning in the vehicle early, but this can be a case, you no longer need the vehicle, but you are still getting charged the monthly lease cost. The last one is it is an invalid. It's improper billing and the vehicle is no longer part of the fleet. Errors happen sometimes. Or one time there was a vehicle that was still being charged for 18 months after the fact. And that's something that you want to be able to catch and get reimbursed for because that's just money that's being wasted. So things like that are what we're trying to catch with this system. And so what you'll see here is like, okay, this vehicle has been 24 months over the last date that it was seen in the inventory. So it'll tell you the last inventory, the last billing, and it'll tell you the amount overbilled. You can download the billing report here if that's something that interests you. But what we need from the vehicle contacts and from you all is to just review it. You said the review date, and then you say, I've researched this and the charge is valid because it's a lease cost, something like that. If it's not correct, you can go ahead and challenge it. And then that way you'll send it to, either your FSR or up the chain of command, however you choose to do that. Does anybody have any questions about the build after disposal? Okay, perfect. So the last thing that I like to talk about is just if you have any data questions, if you're seeing something out of the ordinary or anything like that, please, again, don't hesitate to contact us at support. And then just so you know that the things that you are doing are beneficial to the whole team and to DOL as a whole, because there are different reports that are being asked of, DOL and on all fleet agencies. We are trying to do, look towards the future, and we're also being asked to, submit different things. So all of this information that you're providing, it goes into a monthly fleet report. And that way we are able to understand better, like where all of our data elements are. And with your help, we'll be able to have, better data quality and things like that. So, please let me know. I'll let, if Trish or Eric wants to say anything else, but that's all that I have.
Thank you, Audrey.
I'm good. Thank you, Audrey. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Everybody was super quiet today. I know you might think of something in the next couple of hours or something like that, but if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll stay on for a few more minutes.
I'll just say that one of the biggest problems we have with odometer readings with the GSA leased vehicles is that when people go to the public gas station and they're supposed to get the odometer reading at the pump, GORP, they're supposed to type in the actual odometer reading into the pump when they pay for the gas. That's where the biggest problems are, is that people are not typing the correct odometer reading. And I think it's just careless. People think, oh, it doesn't matter. What difference does it make? I'll just round it up or round it down or whatever. That's not the case, because we do need the exact odometer reading because of the reports.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I think we get reported on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that GSA charges per like mile or something like that. I don't know. So it does matter. Okay.
Does any Job Corps staff have any questions? If you don't, we're going to end the conversation.
I see Mr. Darrell.
Yeah, he asked, will you please share this deck in its entirety?
Yes, of course. Amy? Amy, what's your question? I saw your hand up, but I'm not able to hear you. So maybe you could put it in the chat and Andrew can read it for me.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come in.
Okay. Yeah, and so while we're waiting, I will definitely be sharing this video, and you all can refer back to it or send it to anybody else in your office that's going to be assisting you. I'll be sending this out as well, but just make sure that that you have access to autos. I just need your JCC center name, and then I'll need your email address, and that way I can add you as a contact. If you were sent this directly, then I probably have already done that, uploaded your account. But if you were forwarded it by like your superior or something like that, then I may not have it. So definitely go in and double check. Use the forgot password, but if you don't get an email, it's likely that you don't have that or you don't have access yet.
Are you ready for the question, Audrey?
Yes.
Amy asked, the AUTOS program is in addition to all reporting, correct? So if we show something missing in the program, for example, in the accident section, if we respond on it, that does not let people at the AMC know, correct? I still have to do that.
Yes. This is in addition to that. You could use autos as a way to alert them. Say that you went to this accident portion and then you needed to send, an export to Excel. You could do that. And so you could use it to kind of create those reporting or fulfill those reporting requirements. But you still, autos is more of an alert and a review than a replacement for any one system. Like we still need GSA because that's where all of the information kind of funnels to autos from. but there are just capabilities in GSA that, or there are capabilities that are not in GSA that we have in autos. So that's kind of why we have to use the two. Okay, anybody else think of anything? I will stay on for a bit longer in case you all think of anything. So, oh, go ahead.
Patricia asked, what is the AMC?
That's the Accident
Um,
Management Center within GSA to get the approval to have repairs done and to notify them of an accident.
Oh, yeah, Job Corps, you definitely have to keep doing the AMC. That's important. And you still have to do a SIRS report, a significant incident report. And those of you with agency-owned vehicles, LTAG vehicles, you will still have to report in there as well. But we are trying to consolidate the agency vehicle reporting and the on-site fuel tank reporting into the autos. But we haven't been able to accomplish that yet.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And we will be continuing to have monthly training sessions. So if you think of anything, please feel free to come on to the next one. Things definitely get added or, updates get made. So you may want to join, but we'll continue to update the user guide and things like that. So um, you'll be able to know that.
Hey, just to double check, Paris asked if we'll be able to share the presentation to his transportation staff, and then he put his email.
You can share, you can have as many point of contacts as you want in this system. And you can share it with all the people at the center if you want to. Anybody who's doing vehicle reporting with you on your team can definitely have access and can share. You can share it with them.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's kind of to the main goal or I believe benefit to this site is instead of, having to go or gain access to the GSA site, you can kind of come here and assign a vehicle with multiple contacts. So those people can see your progress in real time. They can you can assign them to like different tasks, maybe this one person is assigned to the odometer reading, and have them focus on that. So you can kind of lay it out however you want to, but like Trish said, as many contacts as you want, that you're able to, trust with that responsibility, but it will be a great tool so that you can delegate that responsibility.
So I want to thank everybody for attending and thank Audrey and Eric also. And I just want to let all of you know, you'll probably always be invited to one of these trainings because you're on a distribution list. So if you've already had the training, you're welcome to take the training again as a refresher, and also because they do have updates to the system that you'll want to be aware of. But to gain access, you need their link and they will send you. Did you already send them their own password, or how does that work, Audrey?
Yeah, I sent out a reminder email, and it's just going to be through the forgot my password. Um since I've already created their accounts. If I had their email, I created their accounts. But if they have any trouble at all, you can contact me. So it would be, you just go here, enter in your email address, and then you can say password reminder, and then you'll have this sent to your account or your email.
Okay, looks like there's no more questions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, as soon as I get this downloaded, I will have that sent over to you all.
All right, thank you, Audrey.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Oops.